Hey, it's me, Riker. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new hero, Eorin the Forest Sting from the Wilder faction. Now this hero wears leather-based gear, is part of the Ranger class, and his primary role is to do burst damage and invade the enemy lines. So let's have a look at this hero's skills. His ultimate skill, Combined Spear. Eorin combines the shaft and the spearhead and attacks enemies 4 times. The first 3 hits each deal damage equal to 170% of his attack rating, and the last hit deals damage equal to 260% of his attack rating. If the poisonous mushroom skill is unlocked, all of Eorin's hits will apply poisonous mushroom and vine fern debuffs to the enemy. When under the combined mode, the damage of the poisonous mushroom and the vine fern will also be increased by 25% for 5 seconds after he uses his ultimate. This effect cannot stack, and the combined spear will separate again after the ultimate ends. Damage of the first 3 hits is increased to 190, and the level 3, the final hit, deals 280% to enemies. So let's have a look at his next skill, Weak Spot Mark. At the beginning of battle, Eorin quickly approaches the enemy hero with the highest attack rating. So this is an invade-like ability where he can jump enemy lines, dealing damage equal to 260% of his attack rating and applying a weak spot mark on the target. This is a little marker above the head. The weak spot mark reduces the target's crit damage resistance by 8 points. This skill refreshes when the marked enemy dies. The level 2 and 3 increase the damage to 280 and 300%, and the level 4 reduces the target's crit damage resistance by 16 points. His next ability, Poisonous Mushroom, which is a passive. Eorin's Spearhead attack applies 1 stack of Poisonous Mushroom to the enemy. If he uses his spear shaft to attack an enemy with this debuff, he'll spread 1 stack of Poisonous Mushroom to enemy closest to him. Each poisonous mushroom stack lasts 6 seconds and can be stacked up to 3 times. Each stack deals damage equal to 60% of Eorin's attack rating every 2 seconds. The poisonous mushroom will apply a stack of vine fern to the carrier every 1 second. Each vine fern stack lasts 5 seconds and reduces the enemy's crit block rate by 5 points. The number of vine fern stacks cannot exceed the carrier's poison mushroom stacks. Both debuffs can be dispelled. So this can be dispelled through things such as Twin's Ultimate, which removes debuffs off your ally heroes. The level 2. When an enemy with the Vine Fern debuff takes critical strike damage, all enemies with Vine Fern debuff will suffer damage equal to 30% of Eorin's attack rating. Each stack of Vine Fern on the target will amplify the damage by 100%. The effect has a 5-second cooldown. The level 3, Vine Fern damage is increased to 50% under 30 engravings. When an enemy with the Poison Mushroom debuff receives another stack of Poison Mushroom, the enemy will suffer damage equal to 60% of Eorin's attack rating for each Poison Mushroom they have. So, his next ability, Stacking Spores. Eorin swiftly attacks an enemy with his spear and shaft 4 times each hit, dealing damage equal to 190% of his attack rating. If the enemy has a Poison Mushroom debuff, when they are hit for the 4th hit, each Poison Mushroom stack will cause the last hit to deal additional damage equal to 2% of the enemy's last health. Each additional damage cannot exceed 140% of Eorin's attack rating. The 2 and 3 increase this damage, and the 60 engravings, each poisonous mushroom stack will cause the last hit to deal additional damage equal to 3% of the enemy's last health. So in enemy lineups or your burst team, Eorin will do extremely well in burst-like situations where the enemy can be quickly brought down to low health, as this scales of how much health the enemy has lost. So, his signature item, Parasitic Spear. Each stack of poisonous mushroom the enemy has reduces the damage they deal to Eorin by 5%. So this can stack a couple of times. Each stack of Poisonous Mushroom reduces the damage they deal to Eorin by 10%. The level 20 unlock of the signature item, 100% of the damage dealt by Eorin's mushroom is converted into health, so a bit of damage reduction and healing. And the 30, each time a Vine Fern damage is triggered, Eorin's attack rating will permanently increase by 2.5% up to 15 stacks. So this is for the entire duration of the fight. So this can be a total of 37.5% increase of attack rating. And the damage reduction can be stacked by 30% if he has his 20 and 10 signature item unlocked. So let's have a look at his furniture. So his furniture, the 3 out of 3, when an enemy hero with Poisonous Mushroom debuff dies, each stack will increase Eorin's crit by 5 points and attack rating by 8% for 5 seconds. This effect can stack many times with its own duration. The 9 out of 9, when Poisonous Mushroom is first applied to an enemy, it will cause them to receive 30% more damage from Eorin. The damage amplification is reduced by 4% every damage second, down to 10% at most. So let's have a look at how he does in battle. So as we can see, he starts on the front row. However, he can essentially start in any position, as he'll continually dive and attack the enemy with the highest attack rating. So as we can see, there's the Vine Fern being applied to the enemy, and we can see its magnitude over the enemy. So as we can see, there are different tiers of the specific buff effect. So let's have a look at how he does his ultimate. So as we can see, he does a slash-like attack where he does multiple attacks, where the final attack does massive damage to the enemies. So as we can see, he's extremely fast and he can dash to the enemies extremely quickly. So let's have a look at enemies with slightly similar power level, with both signature item, furniture, and engravings. So as we can see, he's currently on the front row. Now, he immediately dives the back row and starts attacking the back line. However, he's being attacked by Kaz, who is an extremely strong poison debuff, and his damage reduction and healing was not enough in order to save him for the attacks from Kaz. So let's have a look at the damage statistics. So from here we can see he didn't do a lot of damage. However, his allies managed to save the day and deal the rest of the damage. So let's have a look at how he does at a much higher deficit. So this is not an extremely high deficit. This is only a 140 level deficit between my team and the enemies. So from here we can see in a stall based team such as Ona Grazul, he did a significant amount of damage. Now in the next team over here, in an Irons team, he also did a pretty significant amount of damage, and in the Mahira team as well. However, his primary role will be in invade teams like this. So as you can see in this team, we have got both Tresnel and Awakened Buddhas invading the enemy lines, in addition to Eorin himself. Now this will provide a significant amount of distraction in order for your other allies either to deal damage, to use their abilities, or to simply get their ultimate off. Even though heroes such as Scarlet got their ultimate off, Eorin still managed to do the most amount of damage and do a pretty significant amount of healing. Now we have also another battle similar to this, where he also does a significant amount of damage, even more so than Lucretia. There we go, he managed to easily burst down the enemies by simply dashing back to the enemy backline and simply one-shotting them before they even had a chance to do any damage. However, one of his drawbacks is his survivability, which might be lacking, especially when you start fighting extremely high deficits. However, in invade teams, such as in Arena or various other PvP events, he might do extremely well due to this invade-like and burst feature that he may have. So what is the minimum investment that I recommend in this hero? I would recommend getting his signature item, as this provides a significant amount of damage reduction, and a bit of healing for himself. In addition, I would also recommend getting his furniture all the way to 9 out of 9, as this gives him additional 30% more damage for the first couple of seconds while he's one-shotting the enemies. His engravings might not be that powerful, however, they might prove useful in order to be able to survive longer and deal the necessary damage to the enemies.